Hey everyone, welcome back. Today we're diving deep into Lagos, Nigeria.
Sounds exciting.
It is, and we have this amazing source called Pasted Text to help us.
Okay, so what kind of stuff does it have?
Oh, it's got interviews with locals, historians, even a chef. It's like getting a whole bunch of different perspectives on Lagos.
That's a great way to really understand a place. So, what are we focusing on in this deep dive?
Well, it's clear that Lagos is more than just a big, busy city, right?
Right.
We're going to try to uncover what makes Lagos so unique, how its history and culture kind of come together to shape its identity.
That's really interesting. I've always been fascinated by how a city's past influences its present. And with a place like Lagos, which has such a rich and layered history, it's even more intriguing.
Exactly. And speaking of history, I think that's a great place to start.
Yeah, definitely.
Pasted Text talks about how even the name Lagos itself tells a story.
Oh, that's right. It wasn't always called Lagos, was it?
Nope, it started as Iko, this Yoruba fishing village.
So where does the name Lagos come from? Well, as eco grew, it started interacting more with Portuguese and British traders, and eventually the name Lagos stuck. It's kind of a reminder of how outside forces, I guess you could say, kind of intertwined with the existing Yoruba culture to make this dynamic city.
It's like the name itself reflects that blend of influences. And I imagine that mix is a big part of what gives Lagos that energy everyone talks about.
You're absolutely right. Pasted Text has interviews with residents who say Lagos is always moving. It's like a huge melting pot, bringing together all these different cultures and ambitions.
That makes sense. If you have people coming from all over, it's bound to create this vibrant, ever-changing atmosphere.
It does, and Pasted Text points out that this constant influx of people and ideas really drives the city's growth, giving it this really cool cosmopolitan feel.
That reminds me of other port cities around the world. They often have this similar energy and openness because of their history as trading hubs.
It's amazing how something that happened centuries ago can still shape a city's identity today.
It really is. So how does this cultural mix play out in different parts of Lagos?
Let's take Logos Island as an example. This is where you find Balogan Market, which sounds absolutely incredible.
Okay, tell me more. What's so special about Balogan Market?
Well, it's not just a market, it's like a microcosm of the whole city's trading legacy. You can find literally anything there, and the energy is off the charts.
Wow, so it's like stepping back in time to that trading post era. Is it chaotic?
Oh, definitely. One vendor in Pasted Text describes it as a daily whirlwind of opportunities and connections. It's like the heart of Lagos is beating right there in the market.
It sounds like a sensory overload in the best possible way.
Mm.
All the sights, smells, sounds. You'd really get a feel for the pulse of Lagos.
Absolutely. Now, contrast that with Victoria Island, which is only a short distance away, but it feels like a different world.
What's it like?
Think skyscrapers, international businesses, a super sophisticated nightlife scene. It's like the modern face of Lagos.
So you have the historic energy of Lagos Island and then this more global, cosmopolitan side on Victoria Island.
Exactly. And they both contribute to what makes Lagos so special.
Did Pasted Text go into detail about the nightlife on Victoria Island?
Yeah, there's a quote from someone who loves the nightlife there, and they say that Victoria Island has something for everyone when it comes to going out. Rooftop bars with amazing views, beach clubs with live music, even clubs that are bumping those Afrobeats hits all night long.
It sounds like Lagos has it all.
Yes.
From the historical to the modern, the bustling markets to the chic nightlife. I'm really getting a sense of its diversity.
Me too. And speaking of diversity, we can't forget about the cultural side of Lagos. We're going to dive into the festivals and celebrations next.
I can't wait. So are you ready to jump into the world of Lagos festivals?
Oh, I'm totally ready. I was really fascinated by all the different festivals they talked about in Pasted Text.
It seems like there's always something to celebrate in Lagos.
Right.
Yeah, it's incredible. You know, like the Ayo Festival.
Oh, yeah, that one stood out to me. What's the story behind that?
Well, it's one of those events that's deeply rooted in Yoruba traditions. It's really significant for the people there.
I can imagine. Pasted Text described it as visually stunning. Something about people in white robes.
Yeah, they parade through the streets all masked and in these flowing white robes. And their movements, they're like a reenactment of the spirits of the ancestors arriving.
Whoa, so it's not just a festival, it's like a spiritual experience.
Right. It's a way for people to connect with their heritage and their past
Yeah.
in a really powerful way.
That's incredible. And the white robes, they represent something too, don't they?
They do. purity and reverence. The whole festival is a reminder of the legacy of Yoruba culture.
Wow. Okay, so you have the EO festival, which is very traditional and spiritual, but then there's also the Lagos Carnival, right?
Yes, and it's a completely different vibe.
I bet. Pasted text made it sound like a huge party.
It is. Think like a burst of color, music, dancing. It's a modern way of celebrating the city's energy.
That's what I love about Lagos, you know? They have these ancient traditions, but also know how to have a good time and celebrate in the moment.
Exactly. And speaking of celebrating, we have to talk about Afrobeats.
Oh, yeah. How could we forget Afrobeats? It's everywhere these days.
It's not just music, though. It's like a cultural movement.
I was thinking about that. Pasted text called it a way of life. That's a powerful statement.
Right. I think it goes beyond just the rhythms and melodies. It's connected to stories and experiences, especially those of the African diaspora.
So it's a way for artists to connect with their roots, share their perspectives with the world.
Exactly. And to create this feeling of unity, too. Pasted Text talked about Fela Kuti, who was a pioneer of Afrobeat.
Yeah, I've heard of him.
His music was very political, reflecting the realities of life in Nigeria back then.
That's so interesting. It's like music can be a powerful tool for social commentary.
It definitely can be. And you see that legacy continuing today with artists like Wizkid and Burna Boy. They're taking Afrobeats global.
And Lagos is at the heart of all of this. It's where these artists are collaborating, experimenting, pushing the boundaries of the genre.
Totally. Okay, so we've talked about the city, the culture, the music,
Yeah.
but Pasted Text also mentioned the beaches in Lagos.
Oh, yeah, I was wondering when we'd get to that. Because Lagos is a coastal city, right?
It is. And those beaches are like a little escape from all the hustle and bustle.
That sounds amazing. Did they mention any specific beaches in pasted text?
Yeah, like Tarkwa Bay.
Okay, what's that one like?
Well, it's a bit of a hidden gem. You can
Mm.
only get there by boat. But it's supposed to be super peaceful, the place to really reconnect with nature.
Someone in pasted text actually called it a peaceful paradise. I love that.
Right. And then you have Ilagushi Beach, which is totally different.
Oh,
Ilagushi is more lively. Think beach parties, food vendors, people hanging out enjoying the nightlife.
it sounds fun.
It is. And you know what's interesting? Someone said they go to Ilagushi to escape the hustle of the city. It's still pretty lively there.
I guess it just shows you how everyone has their own way of relaxing and enjoying Lagos.
Totally. And speaking of nature, Pasted Text also talked about the Lekki Conservation Center.
Oh, right. They have that amazing canopy walkway there, don't they?
Yeah, it's a great way to experience the forest. The center itself is all about protecting a mangrove forest ecosystem.
So it's a good reminder that even in a big city like Lagos, nature is still really important.
Absolutely. And speaking of important, we can't forget about the food.
Oh, the food. Pasted text had me craving all sorts of Lagos delicacies.
Ready to explore the food scene.
Let's do it. I'm starving. All right, let's talk food. I'm ready to dig in.
Me too. And Pasted Text really paints a vivid picture of the food scene in Lagos.
Yeah, it made it sound like a total sensory experience.
Oh, it definitely is.
Yeah.
Just imagine walking through a Lagos market.
Okay, I'm imagining.
The sizzle of suya, those spicy grilled meat skewers, the aroma of all those spices, the vibrant colors of the fresh produce.
And the sounds too, right?
Oh, absolutely. Vendors calling out, people bargaining, music in the background.
Just like a symphony for your senses.
It really is.
Mhm.
And that's where you really get to the heart of Lagos food culture. The street food.
I was going to say, pasted text made street food sound like a must-try.
It is. It's affordable, it's accessible, and the flavors are incredible.
Yeah, I mentioned puff puff, right?
Yes. Those little fried dough balls, they're everywhere. People love them. Often enjoyed with a cold drink. Perfect for a hot day.
Simple pleasures, but they sound delicious.
They are. And then there's jollof rice, which is kind of a big deal in Lagos.
More than just a dish.
Way more. It's almost like a cultural icon.
What makes it so special?
Well, for one, Pasted Text talked about this friendly rivalry between different regions, each claiming that their jollof rice is the best.
Oh, interesting. So there are regional variations.
Definitely. The basic ingredients are the same. Rice, tomatoes, onions, peppers, spices. But the exact blend changes from family to family, region to region. It's a dish that sparks conversation, brings people together.
I love that. It's more than just a meal. It's part of their identity.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But Lagos isn't just about tradition. It's also about innovation.
Especially when it comes to food, I bet.
Oh, yeah. The fine dining scene in Lagos is really taking off.
Pasted text hinted at that. What's it like?
Think traditional Nigerian cuisine, but elevated. They're using modern techniques, plating, even global influences, but still honoring those core flavors.
So they're reimagining what Nigerian food can be.
Right. One chef even said they're reimagining local flavors. It's so creative.
Can you give me an example?
Sure. Imagine smoked fish, a traditional ingredient, but prepared using sous vide and then paired with something unexpected, like citrus foam or microgreens.
Wow, that's a whole new level.
It's all about taking those familiar flavors and presenting them in a new way.
That's incredible. This whole deep dive has been amazing. We've gone from history to culture to the beaches and now the food. I feel like we've only just scratched the surface of what Lagos has to offer.
I know, right? Lagos is one of those cities that defies easy definition. It's constantly evolving, blending the old and the new, and the energy is just infectious.
It sounds like a place everyone should experience at least once.
I agree.
Well, Paste of Text gave us a fantastic starting point, but I think it's time for all of us to continue exploring Lagos on our own. Whether it's through the music, the food, the art, or the history, there's a whole world waiting to be discovered. So until next time, keep diving deep.